Step back and see the macro and digest it down to the micro. Trading, investing, and geopolitics from macro down to the micro. Welcome to Macronomics.
Good rising, guys. Welcome back to Macronomics. I got a good one for us today, guys, and looking forward to sharing it. Sipping on some ginger tea. Just got done checking some trades and looking over the macro sphere. Today, though, we're going to actually be talking about a technical approach, tactical, if you will, and this is something that we've been employing, which is simply this: our range and where we are entering trades. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So for the past, since about September, guys, I've been consistently documenting my trades. And what I've learned from that process is that I've started to learn certain behaviors and to just be aware of this process, right? And this correlates because there was almost a part of me that felt like I needed to, at a certain point, I'll just be able to, pretty much not win, but I guess substantially compound the account. And I feel like this was a flaw because I felt like there wasn't a specific number and I was focused on the results instead of the process. And the process has taught me so much and helped me to expand my perspective because it showed me certain behaviors that I do and whatnot, and that process has meant a lot. And one of the things I've noticed is I've started to hone my entries as well as my risk reward, and started off with risk, pretty much optimizing the risk, right? Because I was all over the place. I was placing trades, seeing money move every which way, and I was focused on how I could just make money instead of survive. So then my mindset shifted to making money, not making money, but to saving money, like not losing it, staying in the game, so that when an opportunity comes along, I can manage it, I can get in. And that process is one of the fruits of you, if you will, of this process that I learned, that I got to be patient, you got to survive. So boom, that was one thing. My mind shifted to surviving. So then I started managing the risk and reward, right? Then we got to a point where we're pretty much at now, where we're taking a heavy look at our process and honing in on our entry points. Now this is significant because for us, we was placing trades on different time frames, so we was getting confused as to what we could trade. And when I say trade, I mean like which time frame, because there was points where on the weekly I wasn't seeing any liquidity or strong movements, kind of like this week, and I would tune into the 4 hour, maybe even the 2 hour, and I'd see some signals, right, but they were false, and we lost a lot of trades, primarily trying to place trades on that. And so now we've shifted to a process of more trend following, being patient. Like this week so far, we've only placed 2 trades. One of the trades we definitely could have waited for. We had a signal, I believe it was the pound and the dollar, US dollar, and it was we waited for the setup, but we could have definitely gave it a little bit more room to breathe. But as far as the trade we're in now, like, we've only placed 2 trades this week, and I feel like, it's kind of like catching fish. You don't have to catch 15 fish. You can catch one fish that weighs the same as those 15 fish, and you can focus your energy. And so that correlates simply to this, guys, our tactical approach. Where are you entering at? And are you consistent in that methodology? Are you consistent in your entry setups for the most part? Are you looking at it from a similar time frame? Because if not, I feel like this can just create a lot of confusion, because it's you're looking at different time frames, and it can be false signals from the higher and the lower. So that's why for me, I've been focusing on the weekly, primarily because I'm starting to see I'm a swing trader. I like to manage positions, like the position that I'm in now. Let's say there's a macro event that's happening. There's some issues as far as politically that's affecting some of these instruments. You have time to maneuver, whereas the if you're on the smaller time frames, I just feel like it's a lot more hectic, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's where you're at. But for me, I had to see that I am I like to, I got other things going on and I got other businesses and whatnot, so I want to be able to take my time and manage these positions greatly and efficiently. And it's a process, guys. Like, don't take my word for what works for me. I mean, definitely incorporate and see if it works for you, but definitely try your own thing, man. I don't know if you guys listen to Trading Nut, or any of you follow Swaggy C. He's a trader on YouTube. I was listening to a recent podcast, and it just hit me. Like, I've listened to hundreds of Trading Nut podcasts, at least 100, right? Or going on 100. And, I've heard so many different views from short term to long term traders, different patterns and approaches. And what I've done with this is I've just learned to take pieces of what works for me and incorporate it into my plan, guys. And that's the same concept for you. Do what works for you. Like, take little pieces, and I feel like that's analogous to life. You shouldn't follow people. You should follow principles. So if you have some people that are sharing different principles, maybe you can extrapolate a couple of those principles and see what works for you. Because if you try trading like someone, they usually trade that way based on things that they've incorporated and learned from. And again, for me, I'm learning to hone my entry points, and right now that is the weekly. Seeing, like, as an example, guys, today there is there isn't much liquidity in the market. It seems that market participants are sitting out because maybe there's some I believe there's some reports coming out of the US. It's just the dollar index is down, but it's also, if you look at the candles of the DXY, it's just no liquidity. So, there's many approaches, and I'm honing mine, and I'm going to continue to share and see what works for me so I can share it with you guys. But as far as our message for today, guys, hone your entry points and make sure you have some type of continuity across your entries, because if not, you're not going to be able to hone that aspect of your trading, and it's going to be sporadic. And that's something that I can speak from 300 trades. The other day, I marked my 300th trade on in my journal and well, document specifically. So from 300 plus trades, I can tell you from experience that if you don't have a conducive plan or something that's has some type of continuity, you'll be sporadic in your results. So with that, guys, I hope you appreciated this episode. If you did, if you could, we're trying to get on Apple Podcasts so we can get some reviews. But wherever you listen to this, please feel free to give us a review. We love to hear what we can hone in on and fix. Not fix, but I guess expand upon. So with that, I shall talk to you guys in the next one.